Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and Turtle Rock Studios is back for blood. And your boy is back for another YouTube commentary. I can't be the only one who has come up with that joke. Then again, this is the home of YouTube originality. I mean, for God's sakes, I do a top 5 RPG series every single month. Top 5 videos. That's right. Home of originality right here. Or you can get the Life and Death of Dead Space, which is, I think, legitimately original. You never know what you're going to get here. I think that's the beauty of it. All joking aside, ladies and gentlemen, Back 4 Blood is a game that really wasn't hardcore on my radar. You know, I was paying attention to it as someone who does a lot of Xbox coverage and also a Xbox podcast. So seeing it's a day one Game Pass game, I thought it makes a lot of sense that we sit down and talk about the beta that just went live for Back 4 Blood. I have played it all the way through, testing all of the modes and all of the mechanics, and I want to deliver my thoughts. Now, since this is a beta and the game is coming out in just a few short months, it's coming out in October, I thought let's divide this into 2 vertical slices. One will be analyzing the mechanics, what kind of game is this, and is it fun, is it good? But more than anything, I think a lot of you are curious about is this a good Game Pass game, which is this new term that's being tossed around a lot because it's like, well, would you pay for it or would you just download it? Do you feel convinced enough to go out and pay for it yet? So we're going to try to handle that as well. It's going to be an interesting subject. And of course, if you played Back 4 Blood, let me know in the comments down below. Looking forward to seeing your thoughts. With that, let's get started. So yeah, Turtle Rock Studios is compiled of a lot of other original Left 4 Dead developers, and it shows. This game from top to bottom has the Left 4 Dead DNA all over it. A lot of people like that. A lot of people were expecting evolutions. For me, I come from the mindset of if it's not broken, don't fix it, right? So to me, mechanically, Left 4 Dead was quite sound. Run around, zombie hordes, special zombies, tons of campaigns, and then, more important than anything to me, modding. And you have all that put together, and you have a game that people have spent over 1,000 hours with. So the question is, can Back 4 Blood replicate some of that success? And so they take a couple of different approaches to make sure that 2 campaigns don't feel the same. The main way they do this is through a card system. And this card system, when I first did it, I went, oh my God, please don't. Just let me play the game. And the idea here is that you will create your own decks. And as someone who likes card games, at first I was open to this. And as it developed, I warmed up to it a little bit more. So you'll have stuff like 10% more ammo, 20% reload speed, and then more moment-to-moment gameplay type cards, like stabbing an enemy with a melee attack gives you 2 health back, which can be pretty crucial in a fight. And so as you start to build this up, after every single part of the campaign, you'll add a new card to your repertoire from your deck. And so as you reach the climax of the campaign, and especially on the higher difficulties, you have your own custom build that plays a specific way that works for the situation you're in. The difference is the corrupted cards that come your way. So instead of calling them zombies, they call them ridden, because God forbid we have a video game nowadays that just calls them zombies. We got clickers, we got freakers, we got the ridden. Something happened. I'm sure one of the audience members knows this. Something happened with the word zombies. You just can't use it anymore. Someone owns the trademark and they're like, I'm charging you $8 million if you want to put zombies in your game. And they're like, all right, we'll call them the ridden. Anyway, these corrupted cards will change how they act throughout the level, and also change the level itself. One way I experienced it was they would do more damage, they would have more health, and on top of that, it would tell you how you'd finish the level. It would change some of the weather effects. So one level I was on had fog, and this actually played a major factor more than I expected. I thought it'd be more atmospheric, but it ended up being something that impacted how exactly the special zombies were hiding throughout the level. And when they popped out, the team had to take them down right away. So ultimately, the card system, I think, as you dive deeper and you go into the supply lines, which are where you unlock more cards, it will start to alleviate some of the complaints I saw about the game. Some people saying it felt sluggish. I thought, at least comparatively speaking, when we look at the closest product being Left 4 Dead, as a shooter and moving around, it felt fine to me. I played it on PC, 60 FPS, 1440p, so I was good to go. But I noticed there were cards such as being able to not have a movement penalty when you strafe left and right or move backwards, something that some people were complaining about, and eventually you'll have to unlock. My fear here is it's almost like a Star Wars Battlefront 2 effect where you have these star cards, and as you start to get deeper into that game, you really lock in a build and that's it. You just don't touch it. I feel like this game will eventually reach that point of going, okay, here's the ideal card deck build, enjoy. And that's why I found the corrupted cards a little bit more interesting, because how exactly are the enemies going to respond to you? And it's out of your control. You don't get to select these cards. So I was a big fan of that. Another complaint people had was no versus PvP. Yeah, this is a big omission because Left 4 Dead really got some legs based off the idea of running through those campaigns, but the special zombies were actually other players. And right now, Turtle Rock is saying, we have no interest in doing that. I can almost promise you they will break on this. It's like Halo and Battle Royale. They will break on this. There is no, oh, they'll bend. They will break on this. I have no doubt in my mind. But unfortunately, it won't be there at launch. It does feel like a bit of an omission because the versus mode that is there feels very 2012, very 2013, where we had that era of BioShock 2. We had that era of, say, Dead Space 2, where you take these tacked on multiplayer modes and go, hey, not what I really purchased the game for, but no, this ain't bad. This ain't bad at all, actually. And that's sort of the feeling I got from it. Does that mean it's good? Not really, but I thought it was fun, and it wouldn't be the main thing I went and played, but I enjoyed it for what it was. More so playing as the Ridden rather than the humans, because when I was playing as the humans, you kind of just die quickly, and I guess there's a strategy you could formulate there, but ultimately, I thought that playing as the Ridden allowed for a little more strategy. I would tie one of the survivors down with some type of like sticky goo, don't say it, and then afterwards, a friend would come in and just like beat the life out of them. It was like, oh, sweet. We had some chemistry there. That's amazing, right? That's what you love in these cooperatively driven experiences. So I think that there's some potential in the versus mode that maybe people aren't seeing or aren't enjoying. Maybe it's for me, ignorance is bliss. I wasn't really super crazy in love, needed to have it with the versus mode in Left 4 Dead, but I understand the impact it has on other players. That's why I'm not saying forget about it. I'm just saying, like, hey, for me personally, in my experience, I kind of enjoyed the versus mode. I thought it was a good time. But for me, I want most of my hours to be stuck in that campaign, replaying it over and over. And so I did what I think we've all done with Left 4 Dead is you amp up the difficulty. So I tried out Nightmare difficulty. And I have some thoughts on this one. I love the challenge. I love how difficult it is. What I have noticed is it's kind of inconsistent with how often it sends special zombies your way. It's the ones with the big fists, the ones that will explode off the wall that actually look like a creature taken straight out of Dead Space. There's such a large variety of Ridden, and I really appreciate that. But when they hit you like literally right out the gate with them, that's something that I both liked and disliked. Because for me, I look at it and go, okay, we're new to this. We don't have a lot of cards unlocked. Maybe we need certain things to be able to tackle the higher difficulty. But on the other end, maybe it's just not balanced well. And these enemies shouldn't be spawning as quickly as they are. Because the Ridden themselves have increased health, increased damage. So it's already difficult without the special zombies. Because as we continue to use all three of our retries, there was a certain point where there weren't as many special zombies compared to the other two attempts. And it was a little bit more manageable. Still difficult. We still died. We still didn't get out of the first level. But it was at least a little bit more manageable. So I just wanted to bring that to light as well. I think they're at the point now where what we played was mostly complete and they seem to just be tweaking and fine-tuning things. But overall, mechanically speaking, I thought the game was fun. I liked how it seemed like the missions had more objectives. Granted, we only saw one true campaign, and that was with, for example, taking the explosives to the ship and planting them ourselves. And then on top of that, there was another mission where we had to hunt down a nest and shoot those nests to then release a certain part of the level to continue onwards. So there was more environmental interaction, more looking around and seeing the sights rather than just going forward, shooting enemies and that being it, which I don't critique Left 4 Dead 2 for much because it's an old game. It's a decade old, right? Or more than that. So with Back 4 Blood, I expected these things. But at the end of the day, I don't think it truly reinvents the formula. And I'm personally okay with that because at the start of this all, I said, if it's not broken, don't fix it. You know, you get little tweaks here and there, like you can attach items to your weapons, scopes, clips, muzzles, stocks, all that good stuff. And not only that, but it's almost like a permanent attachment. So I can't take a reflex sight off of my MP5 and put it on my pistol and swap all of them around. Once you attach it, it's there for good, at least as far as I know. And then after that, it makes it where you start to become attached to a weapon. And when you find a good one out there exploring at campaign level, you go and have that moment of, do I want this? Should I grab this? It does more damage, but less reload speed. And depending on the difficulty you're on, maybe you need quicker clips. So there's those moments of choice in between, plus the dynamic nature of the corrupted cards in your deck as well. And just the general objectives that I see something that's very fun here. And something that right now I feel lives up to the legacy in a couple of ways. Now, I will say this. This game will not survive without modding. They need modding more than anything. And Left 4 Dead 2, I think it's almost at times an unfair comparison outside of the gameplay because that game had so much time to build up campaigns and content and constantly add to it and tweak it, right? Where I feel like, you know what? I want to see this game's legs more than anything. But out the gate, I like what I played. It was indeed fun. It was a great co-op romp. So, that brings us to part 2. Game Pass. Did this feel to me like a, hey, this was fun. Xbox got a really good get here. They went out and they purchased something pretty significant. Because when you look at the calendar, we have great day one games every single month. We have Psychonauts 2. We have 12 Minutes. And we have a lot of first-party games on top of that. There are plenty of day one gets, but I think out of all the third-party gets for the fall period, I'd say Back 4 Blood is the biggest of them all. And when I look at that, I think to myself, okay, this demands a little bit of a closer analysis. This is their big investment for the fall/holiday period when it comes to Game Pass. To me personally, based off my experience, the game didn't feel crazy buggy. I had some potential, I'm not sure yet until I read your experiences and the experiences of others online. I had some potential balance issues with Nightmare, but nothing game-breaking. And I was looking at the conversation I personally had about looking at the likes of Dark Alliance, looking at Outriders and the launch status of those games, and how really out of the 3 big ones so far, including MLB The Show stood, I think, head and shoulders above those in the terms of quality and launch readiness. Where right now, this does to me seem like a pretty solid get. In the terms of purchasing, of course, we'll never know until the reviews come out. I'll try my best to get a review copy as I always do and make sure I can have everyone prepared before launch and have that opinion there ready to go for when you're ready to maybe hit the purchase button. But as always, what I like to say with Game Pass is the beauty of it is being able to try it, where there is no rush to spend that money. You know, at least you can safely say Back 4 Blood will be there throughout the holiday period, where if you want to spend your money elsewhere, plan on that. Game Pass will already provide this game for you. So to me, I will say this, it doesn't fall into the bin quite yet, because who knows what happens at launch as well, of broken, buggy Game Pass games. And this to me seems like one of their better day one investments. But I didn't get the feeling quite like this was the home run, third party, like must get title that I think would review extremely well and that across the board people would love. It seems to be one of those titles that just fits Game Pass well. And no matter what Xbox has said, they like a particular type of game for it, co-op. And who knows what the monetization in this game may ever end up looking like. It's another thing that we got to float out there with the cards and everything. You have to wonder. So there are some hesitations from me, but at the end of the day, I think so far this was a solid get for them from a mechanical standpoint. And from what I played overall, the length of the campaigns, I enjoyed it. So we'll see what the full product looks like. Of course, I'll be there to talk about it on launch day. But I'm looking forward to seeing your thoughts for those of you who got into the beta and played around with it a little bit more. Maybe those who are more Left 4 Dead experts than I. Certainly, I've played a ton in my day, but I'm no, I'd say, aficionado when it comes to it. So let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts. And other than that, I'll talk with all of you very soon. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the hell out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.